Welcome, Cancer, to your in-depth weekly astrology overview and zodiac forecast for week commencing the 2nd of March for the ascendant, the sun, or the moon. I'm going to share with you, first of all, the big themes of the week, then on screen, your event chart on Monday. I'll unpack that, it's always influential. I'll then go through each of the influences frame by frame to give you a clear picture of what you can expect in terms of relationships, finance, energy, and work. I'm astrologer Patrick Arundel. A very warm welcome. If you've yet to subscribe to the channel, please do so now to help it to continue to thrive. So this is a week when Mars, the planet of action, moves later on Monday into the part of your chart that's to do with independence and could give you a real wanderlust over the following 6 weeks. But on Tuesday, we have a dynamic total lunar eclipse in the practical Virgo, which will have quite the impact on us all over the next 6 months. What's the impact going to be for you personally, Cancer? And then, as the week goes on, the fortunate Jupiter in your sign, which has been retracing its steps for near to 4 months, forges a glorious link with the Sun in your sister water sign of Pisces. I'll share that too. And by Friday, as Venus goes right to the top of your horoscope, what's the significance? Venus isn't just about relationships, it's also about money too. So on the screen is your event chart. We need to be mindful of your ruler, the moon, but first of all, the planet which is most northerly in the chart, and intriguingly, that is Neptune. So your imagination or your need to share your soul purpose when it comes to your work is something that I feel will be a theme for some time to come, but particularly later this week when Venus joins up on this point. If you are very imaginative or creative, Cancer, that's really going to give you food for thought. However, the moon at the start of the week is in conflict with Uranus and Mars. In fact, at the end of last week, Mars and Uranus were in a very tense right angle. If there is a situation around you that feels rather possessive, or there is some leverage being applied, it may still be showing up on Monday. And because the moon is in the mix as well, particularly if it's discussing money or who does and contributes what, differences of values, it really can be something that you're very mindful of. And one of the themes that I feel Mars can bring for you as he thrusts into Pisces later on Monday is a need for variety, to be more spontaneous and to shake off any kind of heaviness, which may have been very powerful and to the fore in recent weeks. That said, Mercury in the sign of Pisces does continue its retrograde through to the 20th of March. So if you are thinking of booking anything or doing anything to do with travel, it will need to be arranged with a great deal of care. Now, Venus forges a very strong link with Uranus at the start of this week, and the arrival of Mars into this ninth house, which can be adventure, travel, higher education, but also philosophy. I feel Venus there in that link with Uranus just says to me, if there are people that you're connecting with at the moment that really share your ethos, who have your values, and not in any way expecting too much from you, but you can just align quite naturally, that's something that really can reach out to you. But by Tuesday, we are going to see that total lunar eclipse. And for you, although it occurs for us all in the precise Virgo, it's in your third house. Third house is how we think on an everyday basis. It can be to do with our everyday routines, quick communication, particularly things like text messages and emails, but it can also be to do with short journeys, our relationship with siblings, and also neighbours and our community. So all this big picture energy, the ninth house, is terrific and exciting, but that moon's telling you, particularly because of the more practical nature of Virgo, not to forget that we all do need a certain amount of routine and structure, and also everyday communication will be really important, even if there's something quite dramatic and exciting that's shaping up with the help of Mars arriving in that ninth house. Now, as the week goes on, Jupiter in your sign, which has been tracking backwards for near to 4 months, it probably hasn't given you quite the uplift that you thought it would since it arrived in Cancer in May last year, simply because it was afflicted by Saturn on its arrival. Jupiter's about growth, Saturn's about restraint. And they did start to collaborate better towards the end of last year. But in this retrograde, some things you wanted to achieve may not have really expanded at quite the pace you want. But you get a great opportunity this week as the sun moves forwards, comes into the trine, Jupiter, the traditional ruler of Pisces, and mutual receptivity. So if you're really connected to your soul purpose and those people who inspire you, something really dazzling can shape up at the end of the week. However, as Venus moves to join up with Neptune and Saturn, if you are in a job at the moment, which does seem very routine, perhaps it's very structured. It may be in an organization that has a particular expectation. It's not really allowing you to be in touch with that part of you that does want to be more creative. That can really give you food for thought at the end of this week. So, as much as Mars moving into Pisces at the start of the week can arouse your sense of adventure, I think Venus by the end of the week can arouse your sense of the need to escape something that's heavy and a little bit too limiting or unsoulful, if you like, by the week's end. So, to recap, as far as your big picture is concerned, it can be a very exciting week. I feel that you're going to have an appetite to shake things up and be more spontaneous. Now, whatever part of life that feeds into, whether it's your pursuits, I do feel your physical energy can be improved by these influences this week. As far as money, there is the chance to do something creative with the help of Venus, the money planet, linking very well with Uranus at the start of the week, but you will need to play by the rules by the end of the week. So if you exist in a big organization, it may be a bit frustrating if you don't feel there's much latitude to express yourself. But as far as relationships are concerned, I feel if you can connect to any person, it doesn't just have to be in a romantic context, but if you can connect to someone who really is fun to be with, is lively, has a magnetism that lights up your heart, that can be really, really fun. And as far as money's concerned, Jupiter in that link with the sun can give you the encouragement to be a little bit more speculative in your approach for sure. On the screen now, you can see your deep dive video for March, but also the deep dive video for the lunar eclipse for Cancer for the next 6 months. And if you would like to have a one-to-one with me, please check out my testimonials below. You can also take advantage of my unique offer of your personal forecast and life roadmap report, totally unique to you. And at the checkout, please apply Astro 26 and you'll get 50% off. If you'd like to understand more about the draconic version of those charts, very much to do with your soul karmic journey, please apply Draco 26 at the checkout.